We are now live once again. All right. You jumped into the call earlier and
First we went on, the second our internet went out for
yes,
some
we
reason.
had a little internet connection issues. Oh, those dastardly computers. So we are Coach Ryan and Coach Danielle here doing a coaching call with you today. And we're talking about the 5 steps or the 5 ways to approach sustainable health habits. And this is a topic that we specifically coach on. This is our philosophy as coaches and how we've helped hundreds and hundreds of women hundreds of women, not women's, over the years create sustainable, healthy lifestyle habits so that they not only see benefits and results now, but they never have to struggle again in the future. And I think so much of it, you know, comes from the fact that I think you mentioned in our previous call that we were doing, then it got cut off. You approach in a mindset for someone in terms of how you need to go about this so that you are thinking long term, really, and not thinking more or less next week, 2 months from now. So we're going to cover 5 different ways that we coach and how we think you should be approaching your sustainable habit changes. And this, for so many of you out there, you've never ever done before, because if you're still struggling, then you're not doing something that you should be doing. Okay.
Yeah.
Um
Before we start with the 5 things, and this might tie in with one of them, but I
why
think,
are you whispering?
oh, sorry. Am I quiet?
Yeah, I don't know.
My ears, my ears feel clogged.
Oh, all right. Did you go
Yeah, I feel like
swimming?
I'm talking loud.
You sound
Um,
very quiet.
I would
It's
mention,
freaking me out, man.
I would mention right off the bat that the first thing you need to make sure you're keeping in your head is that you're not going on any sort of diet.
Yeah.
They will never be successful. Okay. So saying I'm going on a diet will never be a successful way to create sustainable habits. So that's where I want to start.
Yeah,
First thing I
no,
want to
no,
say.
and it's so important because as we coach women and women of all ages, so many of you are still stricken by the 80s and 90s diet culture and restriction, short-term results, getting results, things that you can create now that are a part of who you are now, that are going to benefit you not only for now, but for the rest of your life.
And when it becomes a habit, you don't have to think about it anymore. You just naturally
Exactly.
continue to do it.
So number one, we got to start off with, really, and this is the key to everything, key to life, is what you're willing to do. That is your number one habit, the sustainable habit forming change mindset that you have to be on board with. What are you willing to do? Because these, no matter what else you embark on or actions you take, it doesn't matter what anybody's telling you. It's what you're willing to do in the end,
and willing to do for the rest of your life,
and how it really how it aligns
term
with the goals that you
Yeah.
have. So what are you willing to do? Not, hey, so and so is telling me to do this, so I should be doing this. If you're doing that, you're not engaged, you're not involved, you're not thinking about sustainability for yourself and what's best for you. You're just thinking about what somebody's telling you to do, which is not sustainable, which is going to stop at some point. Because if you're not doing what you're willing to do, guess who's not going to continue that eventually? Or you're going to be relying on something or somebody else that can leave you in the blink of an eye, right? So we always ask our clients this first, is that, one of the first things is, what are you willing to do? And for so many people, they think that there is a wrong answer to that. It's not.
Yeah.
This is the book that you're writing for yourself. This is your life.
Yeah. And I think that your goal has to be set up also, because, and this is why it's important to have a coach too. Like, here's my goal. I want to do what it takes to get there. Well, are you willing to do this, this, and this? Yes or no? And then if no is the answer to any of that, then maybe the goal has to be adjusted.
Yeah.
So it's very important to make sure that those two things align, because if they don't align, then the long-term sustainable habit just won't be.
There's no wrong to it. There's no wrong. And that's how the adjustment comes. And, you mentioned about having an objective viewer or a coach to be able to see that from the outside. It really goes a long way in how someone can view that when we're not in our own heads, right? When we're not in our own heads. So what are you willing to do is the most important aspect. Next, stop thinking all or nothing. And this kind of goes along the same lines. When we talk to people about making any sort of healthy lifestyle change habits, okay, so many people think that they have to do it a specific cookie cutter way. You have to stop the BS on that. You have to stop thinking that. You have to. This is your journey. This is what you're creating. It's about what you're willing to do. So if you're willing to start off with something that requires you to only improve your hydration rate on a daily basis, then you are going to be doing that. It shouldn't be in a situation where you're saying, well, I got to make sure that I've never done exercise before, so I got to do that 5 days a week. I've got to make sure I'm eating my fruits and vegetables every single day. I got to make sure I'm getting 8 hours of sleep, stretching 12 hours a day. No, 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 no. The key is starting from what you're willing to do. And of course, starting simple, starting very, very simple in that aspect. You cannot be thinking, if I can't get an hour and a half of a workout in here today, then it's not worth it. Or if just because I ate that cupcake yesterday, that the rest of my meals are completely worthless. No, 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 no. You have to think small. You have to think simple, and you have to be focusing more on the fact of what you're willing to do from that, not if it's this or nothing at all.
Yep.
And it can be heartbreaking. We see it a lot with people, and just how they approach that and how they beat themselves up over the fact that they didn't do something to a standard that really isn't realistic for them and is not sustainable. So we have to think in that aspect, not all or nothing, realistic, and how it's going to affect you not only for now and in the future.
Yeah, and the all or nothing is really the diet mentality of, if you
And it's
do
not
it,
just the diet mentality, though.
no, but if you
Yeah.
do that diet well, whatever it's prescribing you to do,
Yeah.
you'll more than likely get some results. It's when you do the nothing, because the doing it all is hard to keep up with,
Yeah.
that it all flips, and then there's disappointment, and then
Well, and it goes to our next topic, which is enjoying the process. Okay. So if you're doing all or nothing and it's not the process that you enjoy, you're not going to keep it up for the long haul, which is not going to be sustainable, which is what we're talking about here. And so many of you out there have dealt with that before. And that's why you struggle. And that's why you will continue to struggle, because you don't enjoy the process, because the process is coming from someone else, or it's being told to you, this is what you need to do. You need to be going off of what you're willing to do. what the focus of not all or nothing, and of course enjoying the process, so that it can be something that grows with you from where you are currently now and where you are in the future.
yeah, if you don't like running, you're not going to go start a running regimen just
Mhm.
because it's going to burn calories for you.
Right.
That's, you will not keep that up for long if it's not something that you enjoy.
And there's so
So
many other ways that you can make
yeah,
progress when it comes to physical activity or health habits that most people downplay as being very important. And if you're doing them consistently enough, which we'll get to in a second, that can be your be all end all for achieving the goals that you want. The next one we want to talk about kind of leads into this. We kind of have them all in this order for a reason. Start from where you are. All right. So what are we willing to do? Not thinking all or nothing. Okay. Thinking more simplistic, thinking small, thinking realistic, enjoying the process, and then starting from where you are. Right? Don't start from where you were 5 years ago, 5 months ago. Don't start from where Sally, your friend, is right now. No, start from where you are. And what does that actually mean? Well, it means basically what you're willing to do, but what current level are you at? If you exercise 2 days a week right now, and that's what you're willing to do, don't try and say, I'm going to work in 5 days a week if it's not something you're willing to do and you're not ready for that. Don't try and say that you're going to go to a plant-based lifestyle every single day of the week when you've never done that before. You've got to gradually build up to that. Again, giving you examples
yeah.
of what you're
If you
doing.
currently taken 20 ounces of water,
You're not going to
try
be
to
able to
take
get
in 40,
right. You're
not
not going
100.
to be able to get 100
Yeah.
tomorrow. If you're currently not stretching at all, but you want to develop a weekly routine to do so, don't plan tomorrow to go for an hour stretch. It's
Because
not
what
going to be
happens when we do
sustainable.
these, you more than likely won't hit that goal from there to there, and then you get disappointed, and then you just give up.
Mhm.
So you're better off setting those smaller short-term goals to hit, 20 ounces of water to 40 ounces of water. Do that for a couple of weeks. 40 ounces of water to 60 ounces of water. Do that for a couple of weeks. Then all of a sudden you look back, like, oh, I was doing 20 ounces. Now I'm doing 80 ounces, and I'm not even thinking about it.
Yep.
So
And guys, when you approach it this way, it's less stressful on you physically, mentally, emotionally, right? Because it's not everything is not hanging on a whim. It's not, if I don't do this, my life is over, right? And so many of you think about that, and that's what creates stress. That's what which is not going to benefit you at all, which creates urgency, which creates a sense of unrealistic expectations and unrealistic actions for what your lifestyle is currently presenting. So, and that's where the frustration comes in. That's why people throw their hands up after a very short period of time and say, nothing can work for me. Again, if you think you've tried everything and it's not working for you, you're doing everything that you know you should be doing and it's not working for you, you are not doing everything that you need to be doing that is right for you.
Right.
And that is the key phrase, right for you.
And everybody is different. Everybody's body responds differently to different things. That's why there can't be a cookie cutter program out
Right.
there.
And
you
if
know?
you're and if you think there is, or you've had success on the cookie cutter program, note the key phrase, had success.
They will
Because
get you so far.
yep,
And
you
they
maybe
might.
had it for a short period of time, but it's not going to sustain you for the rest of your life. And guess what? You're going to continue to struggle with the things that you struggle with if you're following cookie cutter. Um, and then so our last topic would be based on consistency and time. We find as coaches that there is a false narrative in terms of what consistency means out there for many individuals, and consistency in terms of how long that needs to be as well. Do you want to expound on that a
Yeah, I
little bit
mean,
more?
how long and how often, right? So if you consistently have you're working out 3 times a week consistently, that would be for at least 6 to 8 weeks. Then you can call that consistent,
I would say
right?
so. Yeah.
Once you get past that, 12, 15-week mark, I would say you're close to now you have a habit. Now it's going to feel strange if you're not working out that 3 times a week.
Or
You're like,
drinking
oh,
your 80 ounces of
yeah.
water, or getting 8 hours of sleep,
But that's
whatever
many
it is that you want
weeks.
to accomplish.
That's many, many weeks. And for some people, it might be quicker. For some people, it might take longer to keep that consistency up.
Yeah.
But even changes that you're going to see are going to take weeks, weeks and weeks. It's not going to
Especially if you're
happen
thinking
overnight.
sustainable, right? If you're thinking long term and you're in this boat, I've struggled X amount of months, X amount of years, and I'm sick and tired of it. And I don't ever want to struggle again. This is the way that you need to approach these things to have long term success. For those who still aren't on board with that and want to continue to struggle, and I'm saying that facetiously because I know you don't want to struggle, but your actions are saying that you do want to continue to struggle, then you have to change the approach in terms of consistency and time. 2 weeks of doing something 3 days a week is not consistent. It may be more consistent from what you've normally been used to. Should it be
And it's something to
commended?
celebrate.
Should it be
Yeah.
celebrated? Should it be a pat on the back? Hell yeah, because it's a foundational piece to building you
But
to something else.
disappointment cannot come in after only a couple of short weeks,
Right.
even a month. It takes longer than that.
And it's hard. We totally get it. Like, it's hard to try and trust yourself to finally get over that hump or create these habits, especially if years have gone by or months have gone by or whatever it is where you've struggled and struggled and struggled. So we totally get that. But you have to ask yourself, you have to look yourself in the mirror. What are your other options? Are you going to just throw your hands up and say, nothing's ever going to work for me? I'm going to continue to struggle. And you're going to deprive yourself of living a life that you want to enjoy. You can't give up. You can't. It's not allowed. It's not an option. It shouldn't be an option. And if it is, what is the point? So you have to adjust the mindset towards that. So again, the recap on the 5 ways to make sustainable health habit changes, and something that we coach as coaches in our Empower 12 coaching program and our SC Bootcamp and coaching program, all for women, all for all ages, doesn't matter what it is. The 5 things. Number 1, what are you willing to do? Okay. Number 2, stop thinking all or nothing. Number 3, got to enjoy the process if you want it to be sustainable. There's nothing in your life that you're going to do for a long period of time that you don't enjoy, and you can apply that to any
Can I
part
add
of your
one
life.
thing in
You
here
may
before I move
add
on?
as much as you want, my dear.
So I want to make sure that there's also no confusion in enjoying the process, and also knowing you're going to get a bit uncomfortable during the process.
Oh, yes, yes.
So those are not the same thing. So just because you get uncomfortable does not mean you're not enjoying. Just remember that with that uncomfortability is growth. So super important.
Yeah.
There.
No, I think that's a great point to say, because everybody's definition of enjoyment is different, right? And what we want to do is make sure that it's something that is sustainably intertwined in our lifestyle, where we're happy and excited to be making these changes because we know it's benefiting us now and in the future. Yeah, it might not all be fun or hunky dory, or there may be times where you're going through a challenge, but again, with that challenge comes growth, and in the end, you can learn from that, and that's what's going to set you up for the
Yes.
future as well.
So that challenge is different than doing things that you
Yeah, that's a
actually
great point.
hate doing.
I'm glad you mentioned that. So that's on enjoying the process. Start from where you currently are. Okay, don't start from where you were in the future, in the past, or where you want to be in the future.
Yeah, don't
Start
start
from where
from
you
where
are.
you wanna be. Like,
Mhm.
I know I wanna take in 100 ounces of water a day.
Well, you're
That's
not going to
not
do
where
that
you're gonna start.
tomorrow if you have never done that before. And then, of course, having your mindset adjusted towards what consistency is and how long that actually is over time.
And always remember you want to keep these habits up for the rest of your life. So there really is this is a journey rather than something with an end date. Diets have end dates,
Mhm.
right? This is more of a journey to keep
Which
those
is,
habits going.
and for those of you who've done all the diet programs out there before, like that's why you continue to struggle because you're entering into something that is going to stop. And unless you've created the habits, which those programs don't get you to create habits, then guess what? You will then go back to your habits that got you to where you didn't want to be in the future. I mean, in the future, and that's where you will continue to struggle. And most people then will go back to those quote unquote diet based habits because they had some success in it, but it's not long term based. It's not sustainable.
Mhm.
So if you're struggling and you've been struggling for a very long time, you have to start thinking sustainability. And if you want to learn more about that, we're some pretty good coaches that can help coach you through that on a daily basis.
We're very
And
responsive. If you it's funny, I just saw a message over here from Chelsea saying she loves us. You can message us both for questions and
she
tips.
loves us. So,
Yes.
okay,
You
very
guys are welcome to message us anytime on
yes.
here. We do respond to messages um as quickly as we can. So
Yeah, feel free to do so. If you're in our Empower 12 coaching program, feel free to post there too. We will also be posting this in our app forum. And for those of you in our boot camp and coaching program, if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below as well. All right. Well, we'll be talking to you guys very soon. Thank you very much. And I hope you enjoyed the show. Peace out.